everyone. So good to see you. Have a pretty full room here this morning. At this time, I'll call the Paulding County Board of Commissioners work session to order. This July the 25th, 2023. And we've got several elected officials here, Sheriff Gullidge and Judge O'Connor, District Attorney Matt Rollins, and Judge Luana Nolan, Solicitor Luana Nolan. So glad to have all of y'all, and in my view, everybody's a special guest, so welcome one and all. If the marshal will bring the list forward, we'll see if any citizens want to show off this morning. Thank you, Rodney. Appreciate it. Yeah. And so excited to have Deidre holding back from Washington, D.C., and to bring us our invocation this morning and lead us in the pledge. Stand if you're able.
Good morning. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God, I just thank you so much for this beautiful day you've given us, Lord, and I thank you for your grace and mercy every day, Lord. Lord, I just want to lift our commissioners up to you, Lord, as it's a struggle day by day to serve the people of the county, Lord, and do it to honor you and first and foremost do the right thing, Lord. Lord, I pray for all our department heads, Lord, that they'll continue to be the servants that they are, Lord, and our first responders, Lord, I want to lift up Sheriff Gullidge and all of his deputies, Lord, and I want to lift up Joey Pelfrey and all of his firefighters, Lord, because, Lord, they go into situations that we know nothing about, God, and I just pray for your hand of protection upon them, Lord. Lord, let us continue to be the people's government, Lord, and continue to be the servants that you called us to be in serving the people of our wonderful county, Lord. Lord, I pray that you just speak peace into this room, into all of our departments, Lord, and I pray, God, that you continue to just show us how much you love us day by day, God, and we'll never forget that, and we'll honor you forever. In your precious Son's name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let's pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Deidre, for starting us off right. The minutes for the July 11th, 2023 work session and the July 11th board meeting minutes are available for review. Under our Team Paulding segment this morning, we've got recognition of all the good things that our senior center does, and we're happy to have the director, Betty, with us this morning. And so let's enjoy that together.
We provide a space for senior adults to come, and they do all sorts of things, exercise programs. We have Zumba, yoga. Our July the 4th celebration, we've been doing that probably 12 years, and we get the varsity truck to come out, and it's just like ordering at the varsity. What do you have? What do you have? And then we usually have entertainment, and we have dancing. It's just a fun time for the seniors to get together and see each other. They haven't seen each other in a while, so we just kind of just have a big party. We have around 200, maybe more, 250 that come out each year for it. We had Dave Carmichael. Sandy Caker was with us also, so that was a really good treat. And they even got up and danced. We're here 8 to 5 every day. We have all sorts of things going on. They go on day trips. We have pool room, billiards going every day. We're located at 54 Industrial Way North, Dallas, 30132. Our phone number is 770-443-8873, or you can look online on the web, paulding.gov, and just look under departments for the Senior Center. It tells you everything we do here. We have a newsletter we put on that website monthly. We also email our newsletters out. All you seniors in Paulding County, please come out and join us. We have so much fun. If you're new here and you don't have many friends, we've got so many friends here that are ready to be your friend. So come out and see us as soon as you can. Call us, whatever you need to do. Come by, see us. We'll show you around and tell you a little bit about what we do, and hope you'll join us.
I really don't qualify as a senior, Betty, but I just enjoy coming out, and they do have a great time. And we've got some good things in the future, don't we? I guess I won't say too much about that, but they're going to have more fun in the future. Let's see what's next. Is the Board of Commissioners would like to present the Public Safety Award to Casman Harness, Julia Davidson, Jennifer Bivens, Keisha Stafford, and Ashley Hayes for their teamwork and working through a real rough weather event back on June the 25th of this year. And we do have some appreciation awards to give, but
I know you don't
we
think you're
want
going to be able to sit back there.
their supervisor, David, to say some words. And yeah, if y'all want to come stand in front. In fact, I don't know all of you by first name. The first one I have here is Casman Harness.
Casman couldn't make it today.
Good name today.
She worked last
Julia.
night. So.
Jennifer Bivens. Just stay right here and face the audience.
I think they believed they were going to get away with having to come up in front of everybody.
No, we're not going to let them get away with that. Keisha Stafford, Ashley Hayes, and let me read one of these. Public Safety Appreciation Award presented to fill in the name here in recognition of outstanding service to their community, presented by the Paulding County Board of Commissioners this 25th day of July, 2023, and you can sell these autographs and get a cup of coffee.
Well, good morning. It's my privilege to present the Public Safety Award to Casman Harness, Julia Davidson, Jennifer Bivens, Keisha Stafford, and Ashley Hayes. Unfortunately, Casman couldn't be with us today. She worked last night and said she needed to sleep. And all these folks work night shifts, so the fact that they're seeing the sun is kind of a strange thing for them. So, on June the 25th, they were working night shift, and a severe weather event struck the county. The following Monday morning, we received an email from Major Pace with the Sheriff's Department, and he had came into work the night before because of the weather event. And he was commending our staff that worked that night for the way they handled this. He said that their help and professionalism helped the Sheriff's Department and other responders clear road hazards and numerous calls that were holding when he came on duty. He said that he went on to say that they were doing a great job, and they were able to notify them of the calls that were being held, and they cleared the calls in about 2.5 hours, which is a pretty good job during a severe weather event, especially one that we weren't really able to plan for. So I know Casman called me at home and told me what was going on, and she was like, we can call the on-call in, but I believe by the time they get here, we're going to have it all handled. So that was the attitude that they went into this with. It means a lot to our members when they get recognized by us internally, but maybe even more when it's coming from one of our responding or our user agencies and even their peers. Christina pulled the call stats from that night, and so from 6 o'clock until midnight, so that first 6 hours of their shift, they processed 196 calls for service, 14 power lines down, 34 road hazards, and 112 of those calls were handled in the first 2 hours. So that means within the first 2 hours of that event, they were handling about 1.7 calls a minute. And it was the 5 people, Casman not being here, but it was 5 people on shift that handled that many calls. So that's pretty hectic, and they pushed through it and got everything handled. So weather events are some of the busiest times that we have at the 911 center, especially ones that we can't plan for. Sometimes we have some advance notice, other times they just hit and unexpectedly, and so in this instance, they did an outstanding job, and just like they do every day, and they were able to provide assistance to the user agencies and to the public that were needing help. So I congratulate all of you on a job well done, and everyone can join me in applauding them. And yes, you have to have your photo taken too. So.
Also like to recognize Christina Kelly in the back there. We're going to wave. Everybody knows you, Christina. You want to be in this picture? Heck of a job. No invited guests this morning. Under bid awards, approved the purchase of 7 public safety Tahoes from Hardy Chevrolet in the amount of $278,845. Ms. Tabitha Pollard to give further description and explanation.
Good morning. These days, when we're purchasing vehicles, we're always looking for a bargain, and this opportunity was presented to us by Hardy Chevrolet about a week ago, I guess. They had some Tahoes that had been, and as you know, vehicles have been very difficult to get. So we've ordered off a state contract, and those vehicles may be 6 months, a year before we receive them. Well, they had received an order, and the jurisdiction or whomever they had ordered those for declined to purchase. So they were ordered at a lower cost than what we had actually ordered some. So they called to see if we were interested in any of them. We had 2 vehicles for the marshals in the current budget, and the sheriff and fire both had vehicles that needed replacing, and that would be become urgent in next year or this year or next year to make those purchases. So they have taken advantage of this $959 decrease in or reduction in the cost. So the sheriff's office actually had some come in this week that were off state contract. They were a little bit higher than these. These were at a lower cost. And so we want to take advantage of, again, that $959 savings per vehicle. And so we're asking to purchase 7 of these vehicles, 2 for the marshals, 3 for fire, or 2 for sheriff and 2 for fire. 2 for the marshals, 3 for sheriff, and 2 for fire. And they're being purchased at a cost of $39,835 each.
Any questions for Tabitha?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Tabitha, I'm sorry I didn't get to ask you this ahead of time. I've been out of town, but so some of these things were budgeted in next year's budget, or the one coming up for us to vote on. Have we backed them out then? If we pass this, are we going to back those out of that budget?
Well, they will, normally what we do with vehicles is even when they're approved in the budget, we bring those back to you because we buy them in quantity. So they'll need to stay in the budget. They were in the SPLOST budget. They'll need to stay in the budget, but they won't be in addition to. These will be
So these
replaced.
are already
These will
budgeted
replace
in,
these.
is the point, right?
2 of these are
Uh-huh.
included in the budget,
Okay, great.
in
All
the
right.
current budget.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a citizen to speak, public participation on agenda items, which is Mr. Chuck Scrugg. I might put some glasses on, might be able to read your name better. Chuck Scragg. Yeah, so Chuck, come on forward. He's going to speak on Condrey and Associates, which is agenda item number 9.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to participate publicly. As a little background, I'm former interim county manager for Brantley County in southeast Georgia, as well as an interim county manager for Long County. That was 18 months. Generally, it's 6 months. And then Pierce County. That's Blackshear, Stetson, Bennett. But a year ago, when I was in Brantley County, we put out an RFP for job classification study for our people. Now, we don't have near the size. That was a county of 20,000 people, about 100 employees, and a budget of 14 million. So it's not in the same class. But we decided on Condrey and Associates, and I'm here to give an unsolicited testimonial to them, in that Jan and Steve were extremely responsive. They did a fantastic job for us. Classification, they stayed on us because some of our people didn't want to fill out the interviews or talk to, we had busy schedules too. But I just wanted to say that Condrey and Associates, right outside of Athens, did a fantastic job for Brantley County. Now, when I was in Long County, UGA did a study. It was very good. Excellence Exceeded did a Pierce County study, but the Brantley County was it turned out very well. We the way they went around and got the classifications and surveyed the other counties, both Pierre County and a few outliers, but everything turned out very well. And I just saw them on the agenda. I came here for the budget, but I thought that I would speak to that to give you a little third-party information. I know you've done your due diligence on them. They're a good firm. Jan and Steve, like I said, we're very, very good, and that's all I have to say. I want to give you a little heads up.
Thank you, Chuck, for taking the time to speak for them. It's an important decision this board needs to make. Has made. I guess we just need to vote, right? All right, consent agenda starts out with item number 3, which is adopt the tax assessor job classification for GIS land records manager, GIS land records specialist, and GIS land records clerk. Item 4 is to accept the streets listed below for perpetual maintenance by the county. I'm not going to read those. There's an agenda on the back table. Rebecca, do I need to read those?
Just read the names of the subdivisions.
Okay. First subdivision is Brookside Phase 2, Post 4 location. The next subdivision is Stonewood Creek, Phase 3 Alpha. It's located in Post 1. And thirdly is Stonewood Creek, Phase 3 Bravo, also located in Post 1. So the street names again are on the back desk. Consent item number 5 is declare the following items listed as surplus and approve their disposal through auction or trade. And likewise, these are all Sheriff's Department vehicles that are worn out, right, Gary? And complete with serial numbers on the back table. Moves us right into old business, and we don't usually have old business, and we don't this morning either. So in new business, item 6 is public hearing to receive comment concerning the fiscal year 2024 proposed budget. And we're going to get you back up. So our comptroller, our director of finances, as Ms. Tabitha Pollard, is going to come forward, and I'll open a public hearing to receive comment after Tabitha speaks. But I would also like to call on, which I've coordinated with our county attorney, Jason Phillips, to kind of give us the purpose of a public hearing, particularly one as important as the budget. So, Jason?
All right, a public hearing, it is set out by state law. It's required as a part of the budget process for counties and municipalities. A public hearing creates the opportunity for the citizens to present their respective opinions, thoughts, and ideas on a particular topic. The topic in this case is our proposed budget, and they present those opinions for this Board of Commissioners to consider. A public hearing of this nature, it's not a public question and answer session, but rather, as stated by the Georgia General Assembly, it is a time, quote, at which any persons wishing to be heard on the budget may appear. Its purpose is for these elected officials to hear views and opinions, for these elected officials to consider those views and opinions expressed by the public, and ultimately have those views and opinions weigh in on how those officials here will ultimately cast their vote on the proposed item. With that said.
Thanks so much, Mr. Phillips. That helps a lot to give us kind of a backdrop. And so I'll turn it over to Tabitha for her presentation. And Tabitha's got a lot of experience, and we all, I don't think anybody thinks it's too strong a statement. We think the world of you.
Well, thank you very much. So we have copies of the budget that are in the back. So if anybody did not get one, you might want to get one. You can't follow along, but it will give you more information about each department's budget, revenues, and the types of funds. So I'll go through the presentation, and then I'll kind of go back and rehash or explain that handout. So today's presentation is for the budget, 2024 budget. We start early in the year. Paulding County is growing. We're serving more citizens. We've done a couple of things this year that have hopefully will better serve the citizens of the county. So the judicial added the state court. That comes with a little bit of an additional cost. We have increases in public safety. We have quite a few increases in transportation, and we're going to cover each one of those today. So first off, we're going to talk about the revenues. Let's, the process, we go through the budget, gather all of the expenditure requests, forecast the revenues, and that's what you're seeing before you is the forecast of those revenues. We have some that have increased, some that have decreased. Overall, and I'm going to talk about a couple specifically where we've seen some growth over the past couple of years that maybe that growth is leveling off or could be seeing some decline. We're not seeing as much real estate transactions, so we don't have quite as many sales and so those real estate transaction, real estate transfer tax or the intangible, we're not seeing a lot of those affecting the end of the overall revenues. Specifically, we'll talk about the title ad valorem tax. So what this is a tax that is imposed when you purchase a vehicle. So you're exempt from sales tax, but you pay a title ad valorem tax for that vehicle. You'll see 2023 in blue. So I've got 4 years of history here. And for the first half of this year, you were seeing increases. And then along about December and January, it begins to level off. March is abnormally high, but it's a reduction from last year because it was abnormally high as well. And then you see some reductions from the previous year. So as we mentioned earlier, the vehicle costs are going up. So that's got to be from the reduction in those sales or the transfer of those vehicles from property owner to property owner. We don't know what that, whether that will increase or whether you will see more of a leveling off. I would anticipate seeing more of a leveling off, and that's what we have prepared our budget without the increase that we've seen over the past few years. So the red line being the 2022, and there was significant increases during that time. Sales tax revenue. Everybody is interested in what the sales tax does for the county, and sales tax allows you 1% of your sales tax, so 1 penny, goes to rolling back the millage rate, and 1 penny is used for a special purpose, and then the school system has an education sales tax. So again, the first half of the year, we've seen a lot of some increases over the previous year, but as you look at February, March, those increases aren't quite as significant as they were. So you've still got a little bit of growth. It's projected that you'll have a little bit of growth. Price of goods have increased, so unless people just, reduce those purchases, we should see that number hopefully remain consistent. Budget concerns this year. So we've had inflation. We feel inflation just like everybody else feels inflation. Higher gas prices leads to higher asphalt prices. Transportation, getting goods here. We purchase food service at the detention center for the inmates, and so we see the grocery store increases, the office supply increases, the cost of goods and services, all of our contracts. We're feeling it. We feel it in everything we do. There's an increase for inflation. Labor market. We can't get out of one conversation without going into another one about how we have vacancies and how we're not getting the attraction that we need from interested parties to hire comparable to hire staff that will be able to get the job done. So we're contracting in some areas where we have limited resources from the labor market, and we're making efforts, as the gentleman said earlier, from the Condry Associates. Hopefully we'll be able to address some of those issues. And we also have a population growth, so we're serving more citizens today than we were a year ago. So how are those funds spent? Basically, governmental funds, general funds specifically, are broken down by function. So we have your general government. What makes up your general government? The Board of Commissioners, Finance, Human Resources, Information Technology, government buildings, so the upkeep of the buildings, purchase of technology. Judicial, that is basically your court system, pretty self-explanatory. Public safety, your sheriff and detention, your marshal, your animal control. Public works, the largest is the DOT. You have stormwater, fleet maintenance, health and welfare. Those are some of your, they're smaller. You have your senior centers, your Meals on Wheels, culture and recreation. One thing about culture and recreation is it is coming back, but those are, it's not completely they don't self-funded, but they do collect a lot of the charges for services that, to offset the expense. Housing and development, that's primarily community development, as well as airport expense. And then we have some additional capital. So one of the things we're going to talk about in another slide is how we have we have made do, and we have gone through the recessionary period. We have built back, we've tried to bring back services, and we've tried to do that in with the least cost that we could. But we are outgrowing some of our facilities. So we have quite a few facilities in there that we have completely outgrown. Doesn't mean we're going to abandon those, of course. We're going to repurpose those for other areas to be able to service more people with the facilities that we have, either by expansion or new services, and then moving those people around. Okay, so in a graph to see what percentage of our budget goes to public safety. The green is public safety, so approximately 31 to 35% is used for public safety. Public works is the second largest, and it's about 25%, 25%. And then your general government, again, that is used to service provide services to all of to the entire circle. Capital, I mentioned, we've got quite a few capital requests for this year. So I have some of those listed. Elections is looking for some additional facilities for particular storage of the equipment. There are quite a few requirements for that. And we have a total of almost $9.6 million of total capital cost over the next year. That's a large expenditure. Additional personnel. So we have a 5% cost of living increase for all employees. We have 11 new position, full-time position, and 2 part-time positions included in this budget. And that's all I have, unless you have something, anybody has any questions.
Any of the commissioners like to have their question before we get into the public part?
Hey Tabitha, it seems like I always have a question, I know. But I want to go back to that revenue slide,
Okay.
one of the first slides there that you had. That one, the projections, yes. Okay, so if you go down to fines and forfeitures, that line,
Yes, ma'am.
that looks like a decrease to me.
Oh,
but
it should be.
doesn't.
It should have parentheses. Sorry.
Yes. So just wanted to correct that.
Yes.
And then also, I think it's a great time to do a commercial for buying Paulding. If you live or pay property taxes in Paulding County and you say, well, I wish we would just do more sales tax, if you buy in Paulding County gets some money. If you go shopping in Cobb, Bartow, Douglas, anywhere else, they get the money. So please shop in Paulding, and if you can't find what you need in Paulding, we also get the sales tax money from online sales. So if you shop online, we'd rather you shop online than drive to another county. It also saves you some gas. So anyway, but that would help in our budgeting and our revenue. So just
It
that's
does.
a little commercial, sorry.
It does. And one other thing to make sure, if you look at one of the advertisements we're required to do, and I don't have it available to put it up, but it's 5-year history. So you're given a rollback rate for one of those percentage, and that equated this year to 2.69 mils. So on an estimated $350,000 house, that's about $360 that is used to reduce, to offset what your property taxes would be.
Thank you, Tabitha. The next part of the public hearing, of course, is public participation, if we have any this morning. So we had some good comments this morning at the 9 o'clock regarding the increase in taxes. So if anyone would like to speak, come give us your name and sign in, and we'd love to hear from you.
Before we do that, if you don't mind, I'm going to go through this, the handout that we have for all of our.
Yeah, please.
So first column, you have general fund. That's basically your M&O. So 33% of your general fund is funded with property taxes. And you have revenues on this first page. And then if you go to page 2 and 3, you have a detail of expenditures. The next column is the fire. So that's fire tax. It's a special district tax. And then you have the 911. 911 is primarily funded with the prepaid, a tax that's on your cell service or on your phone bill. And special court funds, those are specifically fines. Most of them are fines that have been generated through the court system for a particular special interest. Enterprise solid waste, that is your landfill. The solid waste as well as the water and sewer, those are flexible budgets, so they're here for informational purposes only because the funding is provided by the revenue. solid waste has a little bit of a contribution from the general fund, but for the most part, right now, it's self-sufficient minus post-closure care cost, post-closure care cost. And then you have a SPLOST, that's our special purpose local option sales tax. That's the other penny that is used for public safety, DOT, recreation, and economic development. Debt service, that's used to pay for existing debt. And then you have our CIP fund, and that CIP fund is where you'll see a lot of the capital purchases for this year. And then your water and sewer and your ARPA fund. So Paulding County was a recipient of ARPA funds. We're in the process of spending those, and we have until 2024 to spend those. So that maybe we'll give a little more information about the handout and this public hearings to cover all of those. So it's our budget as a whole.
Thank you. That's important information. Didn't need to overlook that. All right, I'll open the podium up to any citizens that would like to come forward and let us know what your thoughts are. So I don't see anybody rushing the podium, do you? Okay. Well, it's my responsibility then to close out the public hearing, and I think be remiss if I didn't say that our staff are here, commissioners are here. If you have a concern that you'd like to talk one-on-one with at the close of the meeting, we'll be hanging around for a few minutes anyway. Item number 7 is another public hearing on Paulding County's Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant application, and Ms. Pollard will also give us more definition on that. Before she speaks, officially I need to call this second public hearing to order and to open the second public hearing. And Tabitha will again give us a presentation.
Sorry, I was just moving the sign-in sheets. Colonel Hutton can give you a much better explanation of this public safety equipment.
Thank you, Ms. Tabitha. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Board. We appreciate y'all taking the time to do this. We've been using the JAG grant for several years now, quite some time, and we use it to supplement equipment for the sheriff's office. And this year, what we're trying to do is, as y'all know, I've been before you several times using technology to help us out with some of the shortages that we have and whatnot, but we're looking at a system called Star Chase. And with this system, it has a vehicle-mounted launcher on it, and it deploys a GPS tracking device. So if we have a stolen vehicle, if we're getting into a car chase, we'll be able to use this system to help track the suspect vehicle. That will allow us to back off, track the vehicle, and plan in a safer tactical response, which would be safer for our community, which we all know is growing, and we got a lot of vehicles on the road, and safer for our deputies. So we appreciate the opportunity, and thank y'all for having this morning so we can proceed with the grant.
Any commissioner questions to Chad?
Much needed.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.
So this is a public hearing. If any citizens would like to come forward and speak on this Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant, the podium is yours also. Well, at this time I'll close the public hearing then, and we'll move on to the next new business item, which is number 8. Discuss action to accept a donation from Friends of Forlorn Pit Bull Rescue Incorporated to Paulding County Animal Control to be used for the spay and neuter program. Mr. Chief Hess, or not Mr. Chief has, but
I'll be Trevor today.
yeah, Ms. Eileen, come, so you can fill us in, and we're very glad to have Jason with us. So call him up whenever you need him.
I will. Good morning. So we're here today to accept a donation, generous donation. I want to kind of give you a backstory on Jason. This is on his website, so you can read it also. Jason shared his home with his parents, Rory and Jerry, brother Evan, and his pit bull, Calvin. His parents taught him animals were part of his family from an early age. Jason's love of animals was undeniable. He brought home every stray he came across, and still does, and dreamed of becoming a veterinarian. However, his life took its twists and turns. Instead, Jason had a successful 20-year career on Wall Street as a commodity future trader broker, and then as the managing director of an equity research publication. After losing his brother unexpectedly in 2005, Jason found himself in a very dark place. He needed a change and decided to move to Georgia for a fresh start and escape some rough memories. Shortly after his move, Jason intercepted a 5-week-old pit bull pup named Angelo from going to the pound. Suddenly, the dark days got a little brighter. The love Jason and Angelo shared for each other made life good again. Jason went to the pound, this is where we met, with the intent of adopting another pit bull as a playmate for Angelo. When he saw the pounds were filled with pit bulls, he was bothered. This realization bothered him enough that he decided to do something about it. In October 2009, Jason founded Friends to the Forlorn Pit Bull Rescue. Jason built FTTF on integrity, compassion, commitment, and love. He pours his heart and soul into every animal he rescues. He loves to rescue the forlorn, the ones everyone else has given up on. He believes there is a home for every animal and that we just need to work really hard to find it. He prides himself on being decent to every animal and human in every situation. Jason believes if you are able to help, you should. He has big plans for his rescue. These plans are almost as big as his heart and his personality. Jason believes that education and spay-neuter is the answer. So about a month ago, I did a video, and part of it was we're struggling. Shelters across the country now are struggling. So I reached out to Jason. He has done fundraisers. He just did a slingshot raffle, raising money for his facility. So I called him and I said, so I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I need spay-neuter. If I can get animals spay-neutered, adopted, then we can help our county at least. He said, let me talk to the board. He said, I can't do a lot because I'm trying to build my building. Absolutely. Just give me some of your knowledge. So he calls me on the way home a couple nights later, and driving, should have pulled over. I did before I crashed my car. He said, I got good news and bad news. And I said, well, what's the bad news first? He said, I can't help you. Got with my board. He said, we've got to concentrate on our building. I said, I completely understand. I appreciate it. He said, well, the good news is I've got a check for you. So he told me the amount, and that's when I had to pull over on the side of the road. So I would like to introduce you to my friend, Jason Flatt.
Don't want to keep you waiting.
Check.
Oh, do I have to grab the check?
You have a check in your pocket?
No, I got cash. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope everybody's doing okay today. Eileen told you the story. We're a struggling nonprofit. Rising costs, increase in animals in need, as we just told, everybody up here was talking about scheduling for growth. Our community's booming again. Everybody's building, and we all consider infrastructure. And unfortunately, when we consider infrastructure, animals are usually forgotten, along with those homes and those communities, already overburdened animal control facilities and rescues in the area. There's going to be a huge demand on us. For us, it's a perfect storm. We've got rising costs, the labor problems. I can't hire people. All the problems that everybody else has. It's going to increase now for the animals. I've never seen it so bad. In 15 years that we're doing this, this is the worst that I've ever seen it. So when Eileen called me, we've been responsible for a lot of the spay-neuter programs within this county. Over the last 8 years, we've fixed over 8,000 animals free of charge for Paulding County and surrounding areas. Sometimes people sneak in. which is okay too. But our costs have gone through the roof. And as Eileen mentioned to you guys, we're trying to build a facility. Back in 2019, when I first envisioned this and bought property to do so, my first building was estimated about $3.2 to $3.5 million. The same building now is over $6 million. You know, sign of the times. But I kind of put a hold on our spay-neuter efforts because I wanted to concentrate on the building, and with the economy being a little unstable right now, you know, we're seeing decreases in donations, we're seeing decreases in adoptions, and we're seeing increases in the need for us. So I'm kind of torn as to what to do, but I felt that spay-neuter is actually one of the only things that is going to keep our animal population down, and offering it low cost or free of charge to members of the community, I think is going to help put a dent in it. So my board it was basically one text message to my board, and I said, look, we've got to do something. Nobody's doing anything. So we have to step up. So with that, Friends to the Forlorn Pitbull Rescue is going to start our spay-neuter program up again, and we're going to dedicate $100,000 this year. That's a hard-earned $100,000 though. What I'm going to say to you guys is, if I'm a struggling nonprofit that relies on donations, and we have, our costs are through the roof, and unfortunately, you go to a restaurant and the price of chicken goes up, menu prices increase. I don't have that option. I'm competing with the pounds that I rescue from. They're giving away dogs for free, and I charge an adoption fee. Our adoption fee is $300. My average cost back in 2017 was $1,400 on a dog per dog that we save. I have a dog that we took in last month was $7,000 on one dog. So I don't make money on adoption, so we don't have that option to pass along costs. But our costs are rising: food, medicine, vet care. But it's really important. I think that the community underestimates the amount of burden that the animals in the community put on the county and their services, and they don't have enough people, and they don't have enough space, and the amount of calls that are going to go out, and the amount of bites that are going to increase, and stray dogs and loose dogs. So we're hoping this $100,000 will spark some interest, and maybe there's some people that are listening that will join our cause, and there are some people in the community that are able to help. If we can do it, there's somebody else out there that can also assist to help us. So we are a tax-deductible organization. Dedicate that money to the spay-neuter fund. That's going to fix, averaged out between dogs and cats, that's going to fix 883 animals. Maybe we can do 1,600 or 1,700. So if there's somebody out there, if there's a group of people out there that would like to match us, I'll welcome it. And hopefully we'll get something done with this money. Thank you.
Jason, what percentage of your dogs are pits?
96, 97. But if you take a look at the percentage of dogs in pounds, you're looking at about 90% of them being pit and pit bull mixes. So the other problem is 90% of the rescues out there won't take a pit bull. So, yeah.
Well, we certainly do appreciate you and all you're doing. I don't even have words to describe.
Thank you.
Most of us have dogs, animals. I know my assistant Angela has a pit bull.
Well, I have more for you guys. I have plenty. Yeah, but we're also, like Eileen mentioned, we're trying to build a facility. We've got 46 acres that have been zoned thanks to you guys out in Rockmart. We're working with our architect and trying to save and trying to get things done, and we're having to do things slowly. I don't need to grow. I'm busy enough. I'm growing to meet the needs of the community. It's just it's more of a workload for us. But as soon as we get that facility built, it's less of a burden on animal control. And every pound across Atlanta is in crisis. In crisis. I'm getting upwards of 1,300 emails a day asking for assistance. And as these costs rise, the vet care has gone through the roof. I don't know if you guys ever pay attention, but every vet in the area has been bought out by a corporation. And costs have skyrocketed. So what happens? Who's the first to suffer? The dogs and the cats in the community. People are turning them out left and right. Beautiful animals. I'm getting called to trap animals all the time because pounds can't take them. So people like just letting them go.
Can you tell the public how to get on this program?
Yes, we're working with West Georgia Spay Neuter Clinic out in Villa Rica. We've dealt with them before. We fixed 1,200 animals a year with them. Never a problem, never an issue. So what we're going to do is we're going to have them set it up. We're going to make it available. We'll start to promote it through the county website. Animals will get fixed. They'll get vaccines. They'll get their rabies shots. They will get pain medicine. They'll get sedatives and stuff to keep them relaxed, and they'll also get e-collars. I could fix a few more animals if I kill the pain medicine and the sedatives and the e-collar and just do the spay-neuter and leave it up to the people to do that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give them an option not to give the animals what they need. It's very important. A lot of these people can't get into a vet's office. You can walk into a vet's office today just to get a rabies shot. You're walking out of there with $100. And a lot of people can't afford that. So just providing the shots alone will allow people to keep their animals in stock. They don't have to give them up. So they will set up appointments at West Georgia Spay Neuter. They'll have to leave a $20 deposit to make the appointment. So this way they have to show up because unfair when people, when you make it completely free, what happens is people make appointments and they don't show up, and then we have a staff sitting there and wasting time, and when other animals could have been fixed. So it'll cost them about $20, and they'll get their shots, and they'll get fixed and get all the pain meds that they need and their e-collars so that they don't reopen any wounds or anything.
Jason, do you have any of your board here today?
I have a few of them, yeah. 2 members.
Would you introduce them so we could all recognize them, appreciate them?
We have our COO, Stacy Greenwald. We got Jules Fandos, and we got Susie Lane.
Can I say something?
We would like to have a photo. If you could bring your board up.
Dave, can I say something first?
Sure, yeah.
If you guys are interested, go on Facebook, like Friends of the Forlorn. Jason does what he calls freedom rides, which I just absolutely love. And you can go on and sponsor a freedom ride for one of these dogs when he goes and picks them up. They usually need medication, vet service, so you're helping them out that way as well.
You have any of your staff here? Lieutenant?
Don't mean to come. Take the glory away.
Thank you all so much. Makes my day. Item 9, we only have 3 more items here. 9 is to discuss action to approve a memorandum of agreement with Condren Associates Incorporated to conduct a job classification and compensation study. Ms. Tara Palmer.
Good morning, how are you?
I want to start by saying the commissioners made a commitment a few years ago that every 3 to 4 years, we would go back and we would visit the compensation plan, and that's where we are today. So we started this process in the spring of '23. So what we tried to do was find a firm that was qualified, that could perform what we're asking. And this compensation study is going to include not only our classification, our salary structure, and also a benefit analysis. So we reached out to GPA, and they helped us vet a couple firms. And so we narrowed it down to 4. And so we went through the process, and we come up with Condrey, which we have dealt with Condrey in the past. We have a really good relationship with them, very helpful. So we're at the point of asking you guys to enter the contract with Condrey to do our new study. We're going to, if approved, it'll start September the 1st, hopefully be done sometime December 2023, if not January 24.
Any questions for Ms. Palmer? I appreciate your work in narrowing it down and letting us come up with the right company.
What is the cost on this?
Condrey came in at $54,500. And they were not the most expensive, and they were not the least expensive.
So Chuck, I guess that's all right with you?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Item 10 is discuss action to adopt Resolution 23-15 of the Paulding County Board of Commissioners seeking a lease of property owned by the state of Georgia for the purposes of operating a new public safety radio system. Mr. David Mumford.
Good morning again. So last year, we published an RFP for a public safety P25 radio system. Motorola Solutions won that bid, and they were awarded the project. A major part of this project, or radio system project, is the acquisition of tower sites. And early on in the process, Motorola identified a tract of land up off of Blue Car Body Road in Braswell that was needed to provide coverage in that area. And the property is owned by the state of Georgia, and DNR manages it. So we met with DNR. They have a need up in that area also to increase their radio coverage. So this is going to serve a dual purpose for the county and the state. In order to begin this process, they need a resolution from the Board of Commissioners stating that several items in the resolution, but one of the big ones is that it's not commercial, it's only for public safety. And this is what they require for us to forward this up to the Attorney General's office to have the Attorney General start the lease process. So it is simply a resolution requesting permission to lease the property.
Questions for David? I'm going to catch up with some other counties around here, aren't we?
Exactly, yes, sir. That's our goal.
Thanks, sir. And finally, item 11 is discuss action to authorize the chairman to execute a deed conveying an 8-acre parcel presently owned by Paulding County. So I want to change it to joint ownership by both Paulding County and the Paulding County Airport Authority. And Jason, you going to describe this one to us, please?
Sure. Commissioners, this is an 8-acre parcel immediately east of the terminal building at the airport. It was acquired a couple of years back. All of the airport property out at the airport is jointly owned, 656 acres by the county and the airport authority. This is a deed simply to have this 8-acre triangle join the rest of the 656 and be jointly owned by the airport authority and the county. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you much. That concludes regular business. No one has signed up for non-agenda items. So this is the time usually when commissioners get to celebrate, advertise, and I'll just call on the county manager to start with, because we have a new department head, a new staff member.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to recognize Jeremiah Fields. Jeremiah, can you stand up so everybody can see you? We're really pleased he's here. He's our new, brand new property management director. And we've had a maintenance division before, but this is truly now a property management. So welcome, Jeremiah. We appreciate you being here today.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Baker Street. I'd like to just say, I've got so many grandkids, I know they start school next Tuesday, a week from today. So, you know, traffic out there is totally different when I drive to work, when school's in session and when it's not. So let's just remember that. Any other comments?
I would just like to thank Jason and everything that he does for the county. He does quite a bit, and nobody notices, but just talk to him. He is the greatest.
No birthdays?
It was Cherie Dunn's birthday, and she is celebrating all month, so she's still got a week to go.
Anybody else? All right, we don't have an executive session today, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Commissioner Cage. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Stover. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We stand adjourned.